Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Mama Genius Hub podcast. I think I just saw most of you recently, for those of you that are following along. And a little snafu with timing, but that's, we're just rolling with it. It's when we start changing things that things come into place. But I am just so excited to have Sandy here. Her podcast has already been released. It's out there for everyone to listen to. So please go ahead and go right directly to connectingmamas.com and click that podcast button, and you'll find Sandy's podcast under the list. And go ahead and give it a listen, because we're going to jump in some more. And if you've already listened or have questions about circles, feel free in the comments and right now to add questions. As we're live, we'd be happy to answer them. But let me go ahead and just introduce Sandy before we get started. So Sandy is a grandmother, mother, wife, aunt, and sister from Southern California, right where I'm from. She is an award-winning leader in the field of women's empowerment and interfaith community building, and the president of the Women's Interfaith Global Organization, S.A.R.A.H, the Spiritual and Religious Alliance for Hope, now in his 21st year. Wow. Producer of Women's Village, the first ever 2023 Parliament of the World Religion, which is where I met her. Sandy served in leadership as chair for the Northern American region in the United Nations Religions Initiative, founder of the Compassionate California, and developed and served as a director of the Women and Girls sector for the Charter of Compassion. She recently released her book, The Liminal Odyssey, which I had the pleasure of reading, Alchemical Power of the Space in Between. Sandy is currently being inducted into the Women's Oral History Archives of Claremont College's library. Wow, I'm just so excited to have you on here and dive into just this collectiveness and this womanness and like just how we shared. And I really just want to enlighten, and again, we're addressing the busy moms out there who think that this might be for other people.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're all been like kind of caught in this wave. Life is sped up so fast, especially, we lost half of a day when we got kids, right?
Only half.
An hour used to be 60 minutes. What happened? It's like everything just goes by so rapidly, and that does not change even when you have adult kids like I do, and then you have grandchildren. It just increases rapidly. And I think we sort of been duped by patriarchy's charms to think we have to be on it. We've got to do this. We have to do that to be worthy, to have meaning, to accomplish everything, And yeah, there's true. This is our biological innate nature is to be able to nurture and construct and heal and all of these things that a mom does throughout the day, sometimes in the same breath, right?
Yes.
So, but that's a skill and that's a blessing, and it's a privilege, really, right? So how do we go easier on ourselves? And sometimes there's no real easy answer. We just do it. Question is, do we do it with joy in our heart and gratitude and remembering this is fun and remembering you'll miss this one day? Take it from this lady, grandma, I miss that. I would like never miss a soccer game and never missed a basketball game when they didn't compete, so yeah, I'm just saying what I wish I heard 20-ish years ago, because I have a 35-year-old daughter now and a 32-year-old son, 33-year-old son. Yeah. And I'm about to start it all over again with babies,
Well, that's exciting to go down that route as well. And it is that word. And I think we'll jump into this first question, even though I was going to leave it towards the end, of the idea of busyness, because I know, like, even as I'm doing this and I keep saying this, I'm always saying like busy moms out there. And that's just how we've identified ourselves. But I want to open the conversation and try to change that, because it seems to be like when we say, how are you? My response, or I know a lot of other people might be, I'm so busy, blah, 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 and all the things I'm doing. And again, like you're saying, the patriarchal answer to that. So I'm like, I'm just posing the question, how do we get a more feminine like answer to how we can actually flow with that question without feeling that we can't answer? Because I'm like, I don't even know how to answer that without saying I'm busy.
Well, how do you identify being busy? Right?
Again, the tasks, the doings of everything. And so like, how else do we identify?
Whatever it is, if we have to apologize for not being able to be somewhere or do something or have to tell somebody something, again, I think it all stems down to that. How are you looking at the work you're doing? I'm
And
never too busy when I'm writing, when I'm writing my
yeah,
book. I'm never too busy when I'm painting. I'm never too busy when I'm cooking. And if I have to talk to my daughter on the phone and listen to whatever she's dealing with or whatever while I'm stirring the pot, I never feel too busy then. I only feel too busy when I'm looking at everything I'm doing as a chore. And
mhm,
if you can look at, like, when the kids come screaming and there's or things aren't working out the way you
yeah,
thought they would when you opened your eyes in the morning. Life hit you hard. um, we can all just do ourselves the greatest service to regulate our nervous system and try to see what we're doing through the lens of joy and gratitude and privilege. I mean, we really, if you're here, if you're listening to Michelle, you love being a mom and you want to connect with other moms and you want to have insight from other moms. So clearly being a mom is important to you, which means you probably love it. And if you don't love it, how can you love it? And it's all,
and I love that, and yeah, that's kind of like, and it's funny though because it's not even necessarily that I necessarily feel that anymore with all the things that I'm doing, but
yeah,
I still don't know the like vocabulary, or I just haven't even quite come up with the words of how I could change that answer. Because like, I mean, it's not even that like I feel like I've been doing more than I used to, and I feel less busy, but I don't even know how to articulate that because it feels like new to me. So I'm like, I don't know.
and I don't know, you have to articulate it even,
I love that.
I know. I think that words are really important. I really do. But words come from what you believe, right? You're not
Mm,
going to say anything or, say I'm exhausted when when I'm exhilarated, right?
right.
Although they come from the same sort of root of energy, right? So
Mhm,
I think when you change your thoughts and your opinions about something, you're going to change your words. If
mhm.
somebody says, "Can you come?" rather than saying you're too busy, perhaps I'm just not available.
I love that, yeah.
And just be okay with that. I mean, we don't have to apologize for doing the most important job on the planet.
I
Right?
think someone earlier today said, my calendar isn't, is full or something, or just, like, it's unavailable, or the wording was a lot better than what I'm saying right now, but it's that idea, that same concept of, like, as women, I feel like we do apologize for everything.
Yeah. And what
We
if your calendar's don't say your calendar's full if it isn't. Just say, I'm just not available. Because you know that
Yeah,
you need that buffer of time between this and that. And you need your mom time. And you just don't have the
mhm.
time. Perhaps we can get together another time. Perhaps another time. Let's, and it's funny. My best friend from high school, I just talked to her the other day. One thing I learned from her, I told her this. I go, one thing you taught me, Cindy, was that no is a complete sentence. Want to go to this party? No. All my other friends would either say yes or make an excuse, right? I can see this in my granddaughter too, who's not even 2. She's not even 2 years. Do you like this? No. Do you like this? Yes. Teach your friends how, let them watch you or other moms watch you. Just be really confident and firm and loving in your position. And you don't have to make up a story around it. You just shift your perception of, you put yourself in that priority list too.
That is so true, is that we do always feel like we have to put a cause or a story to the answer, and it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah. To have to prove ourselves was like, it is completely part of a system of domination. You don't want to be rude. Somebody might ask you, well, what are you doing? I need some time for myself, or I need some breathing room, or, whatever it really truly is. How can we be in our integrity? I even have a chapter on this in the Liminal Odyssey about the power of our words,
Mhm.
impeccability and grace. Um, we create with our words, which is where the term abracadabra comes from. Abracadabra, it's Aramaic. I, with my words, I create. which is what magicians say. And so it is, right? Here comes the
Right.
rabbit out of the hat, because I said so, right?
And that's our
So
magic.
it all starts with just being really grounded in who we are and getting really confident in that and owning it. For heaven's sakes, your body is birthed a human being, and
Yes.
you're responsible to that human being, but you're still connected to that human being, and you will the rest of your life. So how are you going to care for yourself too?
I love that how you said the grounding part, which I think leads us right into our topic of women's circles, because
Yeah.
it's such a great place to get grounded. And I'm really just trying to get the ideas out there of what these really are and how you can make them work for you. And the whole purpose is really just have a different type of conversation, a deep conversation that brings out the inner heart of your soul, of you, which we hide in our normal conversations and things because we're protecting it.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, well, I'll talk while you collect your throat. Yeah, circles are how women naturally move. Women move circularly, and the gendered male moves horizontally and vertically. Our energies are circular. So when we sit in a circle, literally in a circle, and I try to do that every room I'm in with women. It's like, this looks a little bit like a kidney, but okay, we'll make it work. But and with only our knees separating us, right?
Mhm.
Avoid sitting at the table. If you can sit in a living room, that's all the better. But what happens in a circle is first you start with agreements and just say, we are here not to fix anyone. We are here to listen. Now, if you're asking for advice or support with your permission, that's there, but that's not what we're here to do. We're here to listen one another into a condition of discovery and disclosure about who we are. And that is just such an internal cleanse. It's such and when you can come together with that agreement and also sharing time, be very respectful. There's actual circle principles. They're on S.A.R.A.H's website. You can find them at the millionth circle.org or com, I think. But the basic circle principles, of course you have circle principles. Yeah, there you go. So you sit in circle principles, which are just reminders to be respectful of one another in our space together. And also to listen to one another, not to listen to respond, because that's what a lot of people do. Yeah. What am I going to say to that? No, listen completely for understanding. One person speaks at a time. Honor confidentiality. I add no fixing. Um, you know, being available for one another. And that's the greatest service that women can do for one another, is to come into circle together.
I love that so much. And in terms, it really is like this different way of looking at how we can come together. Because I feel part of the problem also is that sisterhood wound, where women feel that they can't connect with each other. And we have these ideas like, I don't want a woman boss. I don't want to connect with other women because this is competition going on. Like there's so many heads at the table. But I feel like when circle really is there, that releases all of that preconceived notions, that we really create this energy together to really get to the heart of who we are. And it's so more powerful when we do it together than if you honestly can't do that alone. The power that happens, the words that come out that you never expected, that when your heart starts to speak, like it's almost like if you're finally letting the floodgates open, and you can't do that alone.
No, you really can't unless you're writing. Writing and journaling is good for that. I call it scribing because you're really if you're getting out of your own way. But something that happens in circle is when trust exists, creativity can thrive, and that's what you're talking about. That internal wisdom has a voice. You're allowing space for your divine soul, your purpose to have a place to land outside of you in a way that's significant, because when you're doing that, you're also allowing others to do the same for themselves. You're bearing witness and you're having witness bared, which is truly a gift. Then what happens biologically is that oxytocin starts raging, that tend and befriend hormone. And I have been in hundreds, countless, more than maybe, I don't know, maybe 1,000 circles over the last 22 years. And you can actually feel the energy swirling. You can almost find your body doing this.
Yes.
You
That's
know?
great.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wonderful.
I
And
want to
we
ask,
get that.
when I was in one of your circles, actually at Parliament, the one where we were dancing, and I want you to share about how looking at someone in the eye and how that all works, because that was such a great explanation.
Oh, are you talking about harmony circles?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was actually really hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I can't speak to that's what Brenda, who is the co-facilitator, Brenda can speak about the scientific connection with the left brain, how that works. But it took me a while to get really comfortable, because then what I'm doing is I'm really focusing on the eye, not really what I'm hearing or saying. But then when you do it a few times, it's like, wow, that's really fascinating. You kind of you're going a little bit further in knowing yourself. It's all about
Yeah,
self-discovery.
it was. So I just want to explain a little bit for her. So a harmony circle is where you get into an inner and an outer circle. And so when you stand in front of another woman, and what you look in the left side of their eye only, and the connection that you can make, your eyes don't start to dart when you're only looking in the one direction, the left eye. And so you're not in that flight mood. You're in that I can actually look into your eyes and but you're right. The first couple times, and we actually go around the circle, and there's a song with it, and really the connection. You're just singing the song to each other,
Yeah.
and like the power of just looking at each other and really seeing each other was so. It was really hard at first, but it was such a process, and it was something that you could never do alone. But it's that idea of when you're looking at someone to truly look in their eyes, to just look at that left eye, because it releases from you, and you can do that. And so the harmony circle is one of the ways to like that get the practicing going, because it really opens you up to that.
Yeah, we typically don't do that because we're usually in a room that's a little bit too big of a circle, and so when you have that opportunity, yeah, it's really powerful.
That was a really powerful one. Now I'm going to bring, so this is Sandy's book right here, Liminal Odyssey. But one of the quotes that stuck out to me, especially since this is a genius podcast, was fear will paralyze our genius. Love will set it free. And then you had a little meme that went with it. And I want you to expand on that, because it was those words were just so powerful and just like spoke to me.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, there are two motivating factors in the world, fear and love. And even fear is rooted in love. Love for what we're protecting, the part of us that wants to protect. There's there's love coming from the enemy too. You can look at it no matter where you see hatred or destruction, especially in our world today. To regulate your nervous system, okay, everyone comes from love for something. So, but in terms of this context, fear is a natural tendency, right? We're human beings on a planet, and we've come through this evolutionary growth that where we need fear to protect us, to keep us from the species that are trying to eat us, right? or the fear is basically an alert system to go, wait, there's something off here in this relationship or in this condition that needs attention. But if you allow it to do anything more than that, if you allow it to keep you from speaking up, taking the next step in something you truly love and want to do, or even afraid to look at what that is, or allow yourself permission to dream, about what your highest purpose is or what could you do, you know, then you are paralyzing your genius. Your soul is, it is behind bars now.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, mamas, our children are watching. Our children. Now, I became aware of this instinctively when we were water skiing. I had never water skied before. And we were out on a boat, and my daughter was 4 and my son was 2. And I'm like, I've never water skied, and I don't really want to, but I feel like I have to. I have to show them what it's like to try. And, you know, I tried and they circled back and got me. And I tried and they circled. We spent all day circling around me, but I wasn't giving up because, and oh my God, that night and the next 3 days, my arms were rubber. I couldn't do anything because I'm like ripping them out of the sockets. But darn it, I wasn't going to stop, you know, and this is an exaggerated, a real example, because our kids are watching us. Let them see you fail. Let them see you fail at something you're trying really hard to do, that let them see your courageousness. Odds are they'll see you succeed. It depends on how you frame that failure. So, or it not being what you thought it would be. You know what I'm saying? So, really, if you don't do it for yourself, do it for your children. Right?
Oh, it's so true. They're watching us, and we want them to try new things. But then, if we're not willing to try new things and learn different things, but honestly, we feel most alive when we're trying something new. And to try something new, you're an infant in that stage. Infants don't get it right away. And and I mean, even as I'm sitting at my guitar in the corner, going, I'm gonna play it. I'm working at
it. Guitar in the corner too. I'm gonna play that thing.
We're gonna have to do some lessons together on Zoom to make us do it.
I'm not kidding. My daughter is an incredible mother, and her kids are, I guess, like I would say, I jokingly but lovingly call them free range kids, because they're going to climb on a rock, and in my mind, they're going to fall, and I just have to do. I have to keep my big grandmother mouth closed, and you know what? They don't fall. You know, so you do definitely teach your children that. And I was an extremely protective mom, but you know, it came from a different place. I'm not suggesting don't be protective with your children. I'm just saying, pay attention to the things that you're not doing because you're in fear. That's the first step. Simple awareness. Mm-hmm. Just start paying attention. You don't have to do anything about it, but start building that muscle of awareness.
I love that. It's so true. I mean, we just start identifying. And the one thing I love about women's circles and what you're saying also is, as we're in the step of awareness, is always taking the judgment away. Because we're telling ourselves we're not good enough or this, but it's not that. It's identifying where we're at, what we need to do to get wherever we want to go. But the women's circle helps train that idea of letting go of the judgment, because we have that in us. But the more we do these practices, we're able to take them outside to our regular lives and practice the silence and practice really truly listening to someone in front of you. And that's my new philosophy is the idea of FOMO, where you're like in a room talking to someone and your eyes are darting around to who's around you. That person in front of you is there for a reason. And the least we can do is give them our full and undivided attention and not worry about whoever else is around here, because it doesn't matter. They're not in front of you.
Yeah, just think about what you're missing.
By not giving them your full attention.
What you're missing. What a privilege it is to be standing here in front of you, and I'm more interested in who just walked in the room or what have you. Yeah.
And that's what this is all about, is just getting into our genius and realizing the things that are around us. And really just, we hear that notion of let's be present. Well, this is our way to be present, is identifying that. So on that note, I do have one final question for you. Is how do you feel, like the actual feeling inside of you when you feel like you're in your genius zone?
Well, the first sign is full body chills. this didn't come, immediately. I actually had a practice. It's all about awareness. It's really all about, which is what the Liminal Odyssey is all about, right?
Mhm.
It's all about practicing different a collection of different skills and practicing them. And what you're really practicing is awareness.
Yes.
Yeah. And so the more you become aware of whatever it is you want to be aware of, you also become aware of what's going on inside your body. So I find I didn't realize how much joy and genius I was in, on a regular basis, because I wasn't paying any attention to what my body was telling me. Our body is made up of some 37 trillion or more cells. When they are all in agreement, you're in your genius. But how do you know that? Through body awareness, through feeling it, right? And so when I'm in my genius, I'm creative, I'm free, I'm trusting, I'm in circle, I'm dancing, I'm writing, right? I'm making flyers I'm doing whatever I love. And I could be so busy making flyers and so busy being in circle and so busy and circling back to your first thing. That's really, that's why I'm, more in my genius throughout the course of my day, because, we all have choice. Even with children, we have choice. We're still in control. It's
Yeah.
just all about our perception, the lens we're seeing our world through.
I love that. And it really is about that choice and really coming into figuring out what is deep inside of us. And I think a lot of us struggle because we're in that phase where we say that we're too busy, we're too this. And so it's taking that moment to slow down, and we struggle to do that. And which is why I brought you on, and why I'm even in saying let's do this in a women's circle, because it gives you that space already pre-designed, a structure that helps do that so much easier and faster, actually, because you're doing it in the energy of other women and realizing we're doing this together. And the power of the coming together and the co-creation of it is what really helps release that. And so on that note, I do want to invite everyone to Thursday night's circle. We'll have one at the end of this launch, and it's all about the power of coming together and really becoming that co-creation, that energy of figure out what is our genius and how do we live in that more often, and then teach our kids how to identify it and live more often for them.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Any final parting words for us, and tell us how people can connect with you?
Well, thank you. My favorite question for women that I invite you to ask yourself is, what is power?
Mm-hmm.
Where's my power? And yeah, thank you. And pay attention to your body. Practice awareness of things. All you have to do is start noticing things. It's that easy. And miracles will start to unfold in otherwise mundane experiences, right? And you start stretching your time. That's really what happens. You get all that time back because you're slowing down to the sound of awe and wonder about what's going on in you. And that's all we can really do for ourselves, so we can really show up in this world fully, and for our families fully, as to show up for ourselves, right? Yeah, thank you. You can reach me at, sandehart.com. How's that? That's the easiest way.
And I did put some connections in the chat for everyone. So
Okay, thanks.
feel free to connect with Sandy, come to the Women's Circle. I got some digital courses for you guys to all check out. But really, let's just start connecting to each other and to our own genius and inspiring our kids to find theirs. That's what this is all about. And we'll see you on the next one. Thank you, everyone. Let's do motherhood together because it's more fun.